Howdy and welcome on back to East Texas Now. My name's Hannah Johnson, and I'm sure you've seen this in the background, at least in the last week or so. Blood and Roses, a Tyler legacy. In fact, I have the writer here joining me, the author of the book, of the historical fiction, Pat Brown, joining us this morning or afternoon. Now, the book is historical fiction, but just as reading, going through, you can tell that the person who wrote about the streets we're driving down in the story has driven down them themselves. And you're from Lindale. Tell me about what made you want to write about Tyler specifically, because this is all set in the 70s, right around a very important time in history. Tell me about it.
Well, Hannah, I taught at Robert E. Lee High School all through the 1970s.
So you were there when all of this was
Oh,
happening.
yes. I was there the year we integrated.
Okay.
And I'm happy to say we did not have a murder.
Well, that's good to know. In fact, that's a part of the book. It is the murder mystery of one of the students.
Yes.
But-
And I have not spoiled that for anyone because it opens with that
Yes,
incident. And then
it's
goes
not even the
back.
first chapter. It's the introduction
Yes,
itself.
it's a prologue.
Yes. So, tying back to you were there, you experienced it for yourself. What was important to you that you relayed through the book?
Well, okay, at the risk of being a little more political than I would like to be,
Yes.
I have always felt that the early Texas school system was very unfair to black students.
Okay.
When I graduated and got my teacher's certificate, it was mandatory that we all take the National Teachers Exam.
Mm-hmm.
It could not be used for hiring, that was the law.
Okay.
But it was used for statistical purposes only. And graduates of interracial schools, which at that point were primarily white, in Texas, like 80% scored above in the top 20 percentile. But it was absolutely reversed for black students. And it wasn't that they had less ability, it was that even their teachers had less training. Because we were segregated from first grade all the way through colleges.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they were automatically getting set up for less
Yes,
successes.
yes, and it's true that one of my classmates had a 4-point average and everything. This was at Stephen F. Austin State University, and he had grown up in Tyler through that system. So it's true that some people went through it and flourished.
Right.
But for the majority of students, they had a disadvantage built in.
Right.
We all want our kids to go to the very best schools.
Right. And have the best opportunities possible for, the effort and everything that they're putting themselves
Yes.
into.
So it's hard to believe how controversial integration was. I mean, it's just hard to believe how
Yes.
angry people were. And so they just could not bring the decision. Robert E. Lee wasn't even built until 1959, which was 5 years after the Brown decision.
Right.
So, but we just kept delaying and delaying and delaying integration until there was a judge, Judge Wayne Justice.
And you mentioned that judge in the book.
I do, and he recently died, but he lived in Austin and was much loved in Austin. Once he retired, he moved back to Austin, but he was the judge in Tyler then, and he was so hated. And I think this is so funny. One of the first rulings he did that was so controversial, I mean, people of your generation just won't even remember this, but it was when the boys started wearing their hair long. Hippies, they were called. Boys of my generation wore their hair. I graduated from high school in 1959. And so those boys wore crew cuts.
Yes.
Like the military. It had stayed ever since World War II. Everybody wore crew cuts. So when the boys started wearing their hair at shoulder length,
It caused an uproar.
oh, yes, they were called hippies. And so they wouldn't admit them to Tyler Junior College unless they cut their hair.
Oh, wow.
And Judge Wayne Justice ruled that Tyler Junior College had to admit him. So I'm
Wow.
getting a little off the subject of the book, but this very much sets the tone of the time.
Yes.
And why Judge Justice was not popular in a very conservative, and I'm not talking about politics.
Right.
I'm talking about overall,
Just families and
a
the
very
lifestyle.
conservative community.
And I think you set up a great example of all of that in the book, trying to establish where each of these families are and the controversies that come up. I want to kind of go back to, again, your history of it all. Was it important for you to really emphasize how angry these families were and some of the language that they used.
Yes, but I want to emphasize too
Yes.
how quickly the students adjusted.
Yes.
I was so proud of my students and really loved them. I mean, that's not an exaggeration. I came to really love my students.
When you were writing, because I see a lot of love written into Myra, the art teacher.
Oh, yes.
Did you feel that that was your kind of portrayal of yourself as a teacher?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Although people who know me think, oh, you model Myra and myself. Well, first of all, if they read very carefully, Myra is very tall. She's taller than Sam,
Okay.
the detective.
Yes.
Or they're the same height. And no, she is very much modeled on another teacher who I wouldn't even mind telling you, Charlene Nichols.
Okay.
Many of people of my daughter's generation, many people who were in high school in the 70s will remember Miss Nichols. And she was just so glamorous. And she unfortunately has now she just died. So she was an English teacher and just so wonderfully flamboyant. But
and lovely and wonderful and accepting, as Myra is in the book.
yes.
I think that's lovely. And so going back to the history, going back to that aspect, let me see here, because like I told you earlier, I haven't finished the book, and I don't want to give a lot away, but I think I'm at a good point where we can, really talk about some of the
Yes.
strategies that you wrote. There was a quote that pops up quite a lot so far where I'm at, and it's change comes slowly in Tyler, but it comes.
Yes.
At times, it almost sounds like it's ominous. Other times, it sounds hopeful. Did you mean to have this repeat in a way that it was like casting a shadow on what's to come, or is it more of it changing tone throughout each time you read it?
Well, it was not conscious.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it was conscious.
Okay.
But I do think it came so quickly. And Hannah, it's hard to exaggerate not just how big a role race played,
Yes.
but how big a role football played.
Yes.
And by the way, still does.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the Campbells, Earl Campbell and his brothers,
Yes.
went to John Tyler.
And you bring them up in the book.
Oh, yes, so if I've mentioned people that are historical,
Yes.
then I was careful just to let you know that about them and didn't try to make them characters in the book.
I like that. I like that you brought up the justice. You bring up Earl Campbell, and there was also a mention. Like you said, football played a big role in. And I hate that there's a line because I often hear it now, and it makes me think about it in a very deeply, like, is this even appropriate to say? At least we'll win the game this year is one of the takeaways that a lot of the white families have when talking about the integration. How did you feel about portraying that perspective?
Well, I think it's okay. And actually, I even think it's okay that we have such love of our football, our game. I think it goes back, that it's really the human condition, that it goes all the way back to the gladiators wearing your color.
Oh, yes.
The games. And then we have the Olympic Games. So I think rather than fight each other,
Right. We find that
really,
common ground.
we should fight in sports. We should compete. We should have the Olympics, not a war.
I like
we
this.
should compete that way. So I think the sports is a healthy competition. And I was a little bit amused anyway because I was reading about KLTV.
Yes.
And I saw that when they were giving illustrious people who've been here in the newsroom in the past, a lot of them were sports figures.
Yes. Yes.
So I think that, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
Okay.
I think it's a good thing that the character DeMarcus
Yes.
became more accepted because he was a football player. So I think that's not all bad. I
Right.
think in many ways it's very good.
Because you have to find that common ground.
Yes.
Especially you make it very clear the tension that is there,
Yes.
and the quiet tension too. That is tough to kind of describe, especially in a book. That overall fear of looking over your shoulder and the eyes that are watching you, even when you
Yes.
don't know them.
Oh, yes. And of course they were.
Yes.
They were.
Walk me through what it was like for you as a teacher in that area. You mentioned you loved your students and how quickly many integrated and everyone kind of came together. What was that like for you in the classroom?
Well, in the classroom, it was good because, everything was good in my classroom because I was a fairly strict teacher.
Got you. So you set a standard, you set a rule.
Yes.
It reminds me of Myra in the book where she's doing the roll call and she's telling everyone to sit in their assigned seats, and they're all kind of like giggling because they're not.
Yes.
And she's like, you can finish the sentence if you want. Or that
No,
she tells
go
them,
ahead.
okay.
Well-
Well, she tells them that whoever's sitting in that seat is getting the grade assigned to them. So whatever name's attached, whether that's someone who does good in that test or not, they're getting that grade. I thought that was phenomenal. Do you feel like you kind of set that same kind of rule?
Well, I actually did that because I was a beginning teacher at that time in 1971 when we integrated.
Yes.
And so I didn't know my black students, and I could look at the yearbook. I used to take great pride in knowing all my students
Before they even walk in?
Yes, I would recognize them if I saw them on campus, and I would say, if you'd been in my class, "Oh, hi, Hannah," for the next day when I'd see you on campus. Well, that made the students feel very important.
Yes.
Because I knew who they were, and so they
Yes.
felt they stood out because I had over 100 students, in the course of a day. But I didn't have a yearbook for the black students, so I couldn't look to see who they are ahead
do
of time.
your homework. Oh,
And
wow.
so they knew I didn't know them. We used to say, this is so changed today, but back then there was so little interaction between the races that many white people, blacks were just black to them. They didn't see them individually. And I understand from some of my black friends that they felt the same about us.
Yeah.
I just looked like a white woman.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was, the kids were kind of playing a joke on their teachers, and that actually happened to me.
Really?
Yes, because I had a basic English class, and I think as a result of that inequality, I had only 2 white students in it, and the rest were black students, and they knew I didn't know them. And so, yes, they were playing a little joke, but when I said to them, "You're going to get the grade of who's ever in your seat,"
Oh, everybody go up.
everybody was sure he was smarter than the one who had his desk.
I love
so
that.
was based on that one was a real incident from my own classroom.
Now diving into like the fictional part of this story with
Yes.
DeMarcus, like you mentioned, and Carla and the coach. Oh my goodness! And then of course Molly. Walk me through what helped influence that story, that fictional side, because I know you've worked as a journalist, in the early
I
years of
did.
KLTV. Was there any kind of crime story that was like, this needs to be told? Or is it true
would
fiction?
it would really be interesting if I could say yes, it was based on some crime story, but actually, it wasn't.
Okay.
So no, I hadn't. And at that time, that there would be a shooting at a school,
Yeah.
it was completely unheard of.
Right.
So
Not
the
e-
biggest problem we had was where the kids smoking marijuana at break.
Oh, well, that'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So walk me through the process of creating this fictional story and wanting to kind of go about this love story that has been forbidden.
Well, I think as a reader, like you, I'm an avid reader.
Yes.
And I think as a reader, we all are a little bit hooked by a mystery.
Yes.
So we like a mystery, and we all like romance.
Oh, absolutely.
So what I really wanted to do was write about the time, but I didn't want to write a history of the time. That's been written so many times. I wanted to write something that I hope would make young women like you identify and know what it would have been like to be a student at that time, or to be a teacher. Many of the teachers were so angry and really felt betrayed on both races because both gave up something.
Yes.
But I think overall, all you have to do is look to see, and we made so many gains.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, a lot of gains, absolutely.
yes,
Going back to the book, this is another question specifically about the writing style. The way you write about East Texas, we have like the little markers here and there. You mentioned the Bergfeld Center, you mentioned the Azalea District, and, even the roads by their names. At one point I was like, oh, we are really mentioning East Texas. But at one point I started thinking about it more and more. It's almost as if you're creating a mirror and you're like, no, this actually happened here. Look, this happened here. Was that intentional?
well, yes, it was, and in the 1970s, going back
Yes.
to that period, my students just couldn't believe, they really didn't want to have to do their work, but I told them they had to because they just couldn't believe that people wouldn't always remember what was going on at Robert E. Lee then.
Right.
Because it felt so historic to them.
Yes.
But I wanted to really capture that time. So that was the time when there was you would not remember this, but many of your viewers may. There was a man named David Wilkerson in New York who wrote a book called The Cross and the Switchblade.
Okay.
And it was about gangs in New York, and he became kind of a street preacher. His mission was to save those kids, and he established a place for them at Garden Valley. You know Garden Valley? It's a little community north of Lindale, Texas.
I don't think I do, but I bet you
Okay.
my Lindale friends would.
It's still there. It has a golf course. I mean, now Lindale has several golf courses
Right.
because of Hideaway, but he didn't then. And I met a man on an airplane who was from somewhere in Europe, and when I said I was from Lindale, Texas, he said, "Oh yes, I know. It's where you have the famous golf course." Well, it was out at the place where David Wilkerson, and it was called Agape Force.
Okay.
And so, they wanted to save other young people. And this was Tyler.
Yeah.
So they would come down to Burkeville Center. And, I mean, not to the center, but to the park.
Yes.
Come down to Burkeville Park, play there. You know about this, late 60s and 70s.
Oh, yes.
They would play their guitars
Sit in
and
circles,
sing and
yes.
invite you to accept Christ as your Savior. And, I mean, I hope that I did not in any way make fun of them in the book.
Oh,
because
I don't think
thought
so.
it was wonderful. I think it saved many young people.
Absolutely.
So-
I think it was very well played, and I really like the details of the mentions of all little aspects of East Texas. Again, I think it brings that mirror because, when we hear these stories, when we hear about what happened in the past, you think, oh, this is just a story, like a historical book, blah, blah, blah. This happened in the bigger cities. No, this happened here. And that's how I took it in, was
Oh,
like, you're
good.
holding the mirror to us saying, no, 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 this happened here.
Yes, because historical fiction isn't just fiction.
Exactly.
It's also history. So I think you learn a lot. And I think in many times reading fiction that you learn a lot about an area and real history. that's in it.
Absolutely.
So I think it's fun.
Absolutely.
It should be fun.
And the love stories, there's the one that I don't care for, and I think you know, the
I
coach
know,
and Carla.
I know. So that is definitely breaking
Yes.
all protocols, all norms, all morality.
Yes. Now, with the creating of the relationship between Carla and the coach, it's purely physical. He even says it himself that he doesn't even care for what she has to say. Did you create that couple to almost as a juxtaposition to how pure and delicate and adorable DeMarcus and Molly are?
Yes.
So you wanted that comparison and contrast.
Yes, I
Oh,
wanted
wow.
it.
Oh,
Plus, I have a friend who is my contemporary who said, it was just so different in those days. I'm quoting her now. Oh my gosh, this is going to be shocking to say, even, but I've gone this far, Hannah.
Yeah.
She said, all of the cheerleaders, we all slept with the high school coach.
Oh, my
It was
goodness.
just the red badge of courage.
Oh,
That's actually
my
what she
goodness.
said.
And this,
So-
that is, much
And, you
different
know,
time.
But they're children.
Yes, they're
I mean,
children.
But I didn't feel like a child when I was 15 and 16, did you?
No, but the adult in the position should have told you, or at least given you the distance and respected their wives and their position and everything else as an adult. But again, I think it was an interesting move that you brought in that relationship to create this very drastic contrast to how pure and almost storybook-like between Molly and DeMarcus.
Yes, and I did have there was no romance between them, but I did have a wonderful blonde student whose name I could never forget. Is it okay if I say it? It's a real person. She was lovely. Her name was Holly Hedge. Now, one could never forget a name like that, could
Right.
one? And I had another incident in the book I used that was true is I have the teacher read without knowing when she reads the first essays.
Yes.
This is not in her basic class, but in one of her regular classes. It turns out to have been written by a black student,
Right, she picked up the best one out of the bunch.
and she didn't know he was black. So
Yes.
because I need to make that point because I have mentioned something that many of my black readers might resent when I've said they had overall their education was inferior.
Right.
But that does mean the ones that came out of it and have achieved more credit to them.
Yes.
And this young man wrote this beautiful essay.
I also think it was important that you noted, especially in the beginning of the integration, that is, that the teachers who taught at Scott, help me.
Robert E. Lee? No, at John Tyler?
No, the school that was shut
Emmett
down.
Scott.
Emmett Scott.
Oh,
yes.
see, you're a Tyler girl, and already that name is gone, isn't
Yes.
it?
Well, I grew up in Chapel Hill, Brownsboro.
Hey, we played you in football, the Lindale Eagles.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But the school that shut down, the teachers there, I mean,
Yes.
you mentioned in the book that they have masters, they have really high degrees, and they lose
Yes.
their job to teachers who barely even have an associate's. I thought
Yes.
that was a very interesting take.
I think it was too. And
Yes.
I will say that Tyler had a highly educated black community.
Yes.
I mean, it wasn't everyone.
Well,
I'm
you,
not-
you mentioned
but-
DeMarcus's family, how well off they are, and the accomplishments that they have. I
Yes.
think that sets a stage to, where a lot of people were at that time.
And there was a black college
Yes.
in Tyler
Yes, ma'am.
already. So I think, I think that it's both. I
Yes.
hope I depicted both.
You can tell you're proud. What are some of the big key takeaways that you want people to take from your book?
I want them to take how important it is to be accepting and loving.
Yes.
And I really mean that. I mean, that sounds like the kind of thing you're supposed to say.
Right.
But no, I really mean it because it's so easy to fight and there's an energy in it.
Yes.
And as a real teacher now, I'm not talking about the book, but I was quite famous for my ability to break up fights.
Oh.
And one of our black teachers, who was male, said, "I don't like you doing that because I'm afraid that one of the young black men
Yeah.
would hit you just in the heat of the moment without realizing, they had nothing to gain by hitting a white woman."
Right.
But I was very good at it, and so the principal liked it, and so I saw how willing students were, though, to change,
Yes.
and
With the right guidance and like, hey, no, we're not doing that.
yes, and I mean they used to come to my, just can you even imagine if you're black
Yes.
and now suddenly you're about to be a senior. We'll use this for your imagination. You're about to be a senior. In those days, the end of the junior year, you elected your officers for the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then 1 week before school, it's gone.
Yes.
It's gone.
And you're having to jump into a whole nother student pool, and you're trying to match grades to see where everyone falls.
And you're a minority.
Yes, already. Yes, disadvantage already. That's a lot.
And so then imagine if you're black and wait, that school is named Robert E. Lee High School. And the school symbol is the Confederate flag.
And they're running it out every football game.
Yes, yes. So it was
I love that you bring
interesting
up.
time.
I love that you bring up the students who are protesting that move in the book. How early as the first semester of integration, they're fighting to get that removed.
Yes,
And
that really happened.
That is amazing. I think that's oh wow. And then still having that. Well, at least we're going to win the game this year. Kind of attitude.
Oh, that was so important.
Oh, it's so important. Absolutely. So again, help me. The big key takeaways you want people to know is to
Well, see how quickly we changed, though.
Yes.
And so I think that's why I think integration was such a good thing, because then you start having black friends, and even some of the most racist families now have some mixed race grandchildren.
Yes.
And they are precious, and they think they're precious.
yes.
And so I do believe that integration did away with that hard line that separated us. So
Miss Pat, I have really enjoyed talking to you and picking your brain. Where can we find your book? This is again, look at it here. Where can we find it?
well, now, this is the hardbound, and so far it's available only on Amazon.
Okay.
And in any format. It's Kindle, I have hardbound, and paperback. And I own all the rights to the book, so I may be changing that. But for right now,
Well, thank you for coming in and let me. I've enjoyed it so much already. I can't wait to finish it and send you an email saying, "Oh, I got more questions."
I hope you do, Hannah.
Well, thank you so
Such
much.
a pleasure to meet you.
Of
Thank you
course.
for having me.
Of course, I'm going to walk you out the door, but I'm
Okay.
going to get us over to our next commercial break.
All right.